All right, guys, thank you all for coming back to the channel. Super excited that you guys keep coming back to watch me. Today's video content is super important, not just if you're in Drip, but if you're in any other investment. It deals a little bit with the mentality that is necessary for making good investments in the long term. So I want to explain a little bit about my philosophy there, and then get a little more specific and talk about what's actually going on in the markets right now. As you guys know, in one of my recent videos, might have been the last one, I came out and said, hey, I'm a Drip maxi, and that still stands, obviously. But even though I'm a Drip maxi and I really believe in the protocol and the system and the developer, I'm still always going to give you guys objective information and be honest about what I think is going on, where the price is going to go, just give you my educated guesses as to what I think is happening. As always, none of this is financial advice. These are just the thought processes that I'm going through myself. And so I wanted to relay that information to you because it may resonate with some of you. So before I dive right into it, I need to hit a couple of these quick points. Dog migration. Today was supposed to be the final day for dog migration. It sounds like they're going to leave it open all week. If you have not migrated your dogs, I'm not sure what you're waiting for. Get them moved over. I know some of you guys are going to complain because you didn't check this or check that and you didn't get your dogs migrated in time. Don't let that be you. Take responsibility for your investments and get your dogs migrated over. 2, I normally do this on camera, but I did my pig airdrops for the week today, and I've been putting those in 0 stakes because some of those dollar amounts are so much smaller that I don't feel like you could compound without wasting too much in gas. So I'm trying to develop a strategy there. I've talked about it before. I'm basically going to the DripFi website. I might as well go there now real quick. Going to the Piggy Bank, coming down to my referrals, seeing how much you deposited, and then doing the math on what that referral bonus was and just kicking it back to you, basically. So right now I'm setting those over as stakes, as 0 time lock stakes, so you can do whatever you want with them. I've been debating about, and you guys can let me know if this is something that you want, I've been debating about sending it directly to your wallet so it just shows up there and doesn't create an additional stake. So all of a sudden you just have a little bonus up there that you could apply to the next stake. My concern is if I'm giving referral bonuses over time, folks are just going to get all these little stakes stacked up, and there'll just be too many for them to handle. Plus, if they're smaller stakes, like some of these guys who just put $50 or $100 into the pig pen, or the piggy bank rather, they're going to spend so much in gas fees trying to get that cycled, or they're going to have to pull it out anyway. So I'm debating about doing that. Any real small stakes where I'm airdropping those piglets, thinking about just maybe sending it directly to their wallet and not staking into the system at all, so it'd be there for them. Now I'm hoping that those folks won't immediately go sell that. I'm hoping that they add it to an existing stake that's not time locked. That way they can build one individual one up and have a nice untime locked stake that's cycling with a reasonable amount in there. Obviously, I can't tell you what to do with the pigs that the piglets that I airdrop you, but I would hope that you'd be responsible and believe in the protocol and keep adding. I think most of you guys that got in do believe in the system in the long term. Animal farm's a little harder to get into than the drip system, so I think people who are into the animal farm or pig pen, piggy bank, I think those folks are probably more educated on what the protocols really do and the long term. I think for a lot of people, the 1% on the drip side is really easy to understand. So they get in thinking they're going to make $1 million this year. And when price action doesn't do what they want to do, they immediately try to get out, right? There's like they think it's going to be a short-term investment, but it's not. So anyway, let's get started real quick. So what I want to talk a little bit about is just investor mindset, and not just investor mindset, but you can really utilize this logic in anything you do in life. And it's got a few levels to it. I'll try not to jump around too much. But the first one is just control your controllables. Everyone's always trying to control stuff that's outside of their control. It's a giant waste of time. It's a giant waste of energy, and it's extremely unproductive. Really successful people know how to separate the things they can control from the things they can't control. Can you control the price of drip? No, you cannot. Can you control if the company you're at does massive layoffs and you end up getting laid off? No, you cannot. Can you control the fact that some teenager accidentally swerved over and clipped you when you were driving home? You cannot. The only thing you can control is what you do from that point forward. So if the drip price is going lower, you've got a decision to make. You can either dollar cost average, buy some additional tokens, and help get your average price down. You can sell, try to recuperate some money and get out of the project. If you've already been laid off, can you control that? No. It's already over. It's happened, and you just need to make whatever decision is going to happen next. Are you going to sit at home and do nothing? Are you going to apply for jobs? Are you going to talk to your network? You can only control your controllables. If the person hits you with their car, you can't go back in time and fix that issue. Your choices to make are to leave that damage, contact your insurance company, get mad at the kid, forgive the kid, whatever. There's certain things that are within your control, and going back and changing the past is certainly not one of them. So whether you're an investor, an employee, a parent, a spouse, whatever, you're going to run into scenarios in life where you don't like what just happened. And there's two types of people in this world. Some people who want to dwell on the issue that actually happened, talk about the problem over and over and over again. Why me? Why did this happen? I have such bad luck, blah, 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 right? And then the other type of person, really generally the more successful people, they say, oh man, that's super unfortunate that that just happened. What are my options? Let's take a look at my options. This scenario happened. Okay, I've basically got two choices here. I can either go left or right. Okay, which one of those two is more productive? All right, I'm gonna go right. And then they just go down the decision tree until they find a resolution for the problem that is most effective. So that's what you need to do in life, and that's what you need to do as an investor. Now, some of you guys are like, I don't know what a decision tree is. It's very simple. You've probably seen one. I slapped a quick one together. Sorry I didn't spend too much time on this, guys, but I just want you to get the gist of what a decision tree is and how you can apply it both in your daily lives, but also into the investment that I'm here to talk to you about today, right? Obviously, Drip. All right, guys, here's my little decision tree, and I didn't break down everything, but I just wanted to get you through the process. This is what a decision tree looks like. So in the very beginning, you were deciding, hey, I'm going to get into a DeFi project, which is inherently risky. And the first decision you really need to make is, are you investing? And are you investing risk capital? So if you said, no, I'm not investing money that I would not be willing to lose, or that I guess you would be willing to lose, that answer is no. You're not investing risk capital, you're investing capital that you need. And the answer to that then is don't make the investment. I think of the folks that are selling right now, there's a lot of people that are in this category. They made the investment thinking it was a sure thing, and they were going to be able to make their money back really quickly. And now they're over here regretting it, trying to pull money out because they did not invest risk capital. Right? For those of us who were smarter about it and did say, okay, I'm willing to lose this money for the upside, the potential upside, which can be really, really great, obviously. We've all run our numbers on the calculator. And we've all seen 6 to 7 figures at the end of that road. So those of us who said, I'm willing to give up this money for the chance to get a much larger dollar amount, invested risk capital, ended up over here at yes. Now, willing to hold between 6 and 12 months. This is an absolute minimum. Investments take time, and even though the best case scenario out there may take less time, like if you got in last summer and then got out at the beginning of the year, that's not the typical scenario. So willing to hold 6 to 12 months, let's say you said no, then you shouldn't have made the investment in the first place. You did not do enough research. I said in all my videos from the very beginning, do not get into a project like this unless you're willing to wait at least 6 months. Now, unfortunately for us, we're in a major market downturn, right? We have collapsed into a bear market with just in a matter of a few months. 6 months ago, Bitcoin hit almost 70K. Last week, it dipped down to like 28. So welcome to investing, and then more specifically, investing in cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies have massive upswings and massive downswings. So you've seen the stock market take 10, 20, 25, almost 30% losses in some segments. Those are major, and everything is always amplified over on the cryptocurrency side. So while a major downturn in the stock market may be 20%, that might be 60% over in the cryptocurrency market. But on the other hand, when the stock market has a great year and is up 10%, 12%, 15%, cryptocurrency is up 100, 200, 300, 400%. So you're playing in a much more volatile market, and you need to understand that if you're going to invest in it. I think just even attempting to invest in cryptocurrency in the crypto market, the DeFi space, with a short-term outlook is a fool's errand. These things are going to swing up and down. And every time I've sold, when we've been in a bit of a downturn, I regretted it every time. I made some really good money back in 2016, 2017. I got out of a lot of my investment at the right time when it peaked, and I got lucky to do that. I bought back in when things got lower, but I did not follow those same guidelines during the next cycle. I DCA'd up, the market skyrocketed. I did not take any profits at that time. And when the market dipped, I found myself in a position where I needed some of that capital. So I had to sell kind of on a downslope. So in the scheme of things, I didn't sell at a loss because I had purchased those tokens years earlier. But my portfolio was way down from all-time highs. I was in a position then where I needed to actually move a little bit of capital around. So I had to take some of my crypto investment out and move it, and I took an L there. A few months later, of course, the market skyrocketed again, and it was a bad decision. That's happened a handful of times for me, both in the stock market and in the cryptocurrency market. But those losses are good. They teach you lessons like this. That's why I'm really not panicking right now, because everything moves in major cycles. So are you willing to hold for 6 to 12 months? If you're saying no here, then you shouldn't have made the investment in the first place. Now, if you say yes, I am willing to hold for a minimum 6 to 12 months, Then what you need to decide is, do you believe in the project or developer? So do you believe in Drip? Do you believe in the animal farm? More importantly, do you believe in Forex? If that answer is no, and you're already in the project, then you need to either do more research, and by that I mean listen to the recent AMAs, try to figure out what's upcoming, learn about the scratch tickets, the lending protocol, the long-term outlook, all the things that are actually coming out. Because I think if you listen to those and do your research on those, it'll make you a little bit more bullish about the project. You won't think about bailing right now. If you have done that research and you still are not confident in the project or the dev, then you need to reevaluate your entry. What did you get into in the first place? Did you actually do your research in the beginning before you got into the project? Or you just look and say, oh, hey, 1%, that's awesome. I'm willing to hold for 12 months. Because if you're willing to hold for 6 to 12 months, then you probably should have been a believer in the project or developer. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to get in. So most of you guys that are in the project are in this section of the decision tree, right? You decided in the beginning to invest risk capital. You were willing to hold for 6 to 12 months. Did a bunch of research in the beginning and you thought, hey, Forex Shark is an awesome developer and this project's gonna go somewhere. So now you're sitting here. And I get it, you're panicking, the price is super low. Every video I'm seeing on YouTube today is just super fuddy. Everybody's really concerned, we're minting new tokens, Drip's going to single digits, on and on and on, right? There is a ton of bad press right now in the market. And not just for Drip, that's basically every DeFi project and every cryptocurrency out there. There are very, very few right now that are great news and everybody's flocking to them. So if you believed in the project or dev, that's a yes here. Are you still earning 1% per day? If the answer is no, you need to sell it right now, sell at the bottom, you made a bad investment. If the answer is yes, you're still earning 1% per day, you believed in the project or dev, you were willing in the beginning to hold for 6 and 12 months, and you started with the risk capital as your investment, then you just need to be patient and wait for new developments. Seeing red on a chart and making an emotional decision is not a good investment strategy. A lot of you guys have been in this project for 2 months and you're selling 96 cents in Drip because you're trying to squeeze all that money back out. It doesn't really work that way, for one, because you can only pull out 1%. So it's going to take you 365 days from now to max that out. And how much are you going to get back in that time? Is the reward of getting your 96 cents worth the risk of possibly making 6 or 7 figures if you were more patient? So that's kind of the decision you need to make in your head. You may have not invested risk capital in the beginning, and you made a mistake then. And maybe that's why you're trying to pull out, because you need the money you needed to get it back. You may have dumped a bunch of capital into 10 different projects, and every single one of them is tanking right now, and you're just trying to figure out something to get money out of. You're certainly not getting out of Luna right now. Hex looks like trash. Bitcoin looks like trash. BNB looks like trash. Almost every project out there looks like trash. So if you're going around to every account, pulling your money off of Coinbase, draining your MetaMask account, trying to take everything out of Drip you can to get by, then you probably didn't invest risk capital in the first place, okay? So that's a mistake you made. On the other hand, if you did invest risk capital and you're all the way down here, then you need to be patient and wait for new developments. You know what's upcoming. It's super concerning that the price is so low, but if you're still earning 1% per day on the tokens, you're still gonna have the same amount of tokens at the end of the year. So if you think those new developments are gonna be big, like once the animal farm gets fully functional, which it will, it should if you believe in the developer, right? You had a decision to make. You said, yeah, I do believe in Forex, I believe in the developer. You believed in it when it was going up. Charts don't only just go up, guys, charts also go down. So if you believed in his ability in the beginning, you should still believe in it now. Even though we've got a downturn, you should believe that we'll be able to battle back. We'll be one of the projects that does better than the masses. And I think Forex is an awesome developer. He's got a real issue with timelines, and he's got a smaller issue with marketing. But I think he's in it for the right reasons. We're developing good protocols. I think this stuff is gonna last, so ultimately I'm not that concerned. Because even if the price is $2 today, but the price is $200 on December 31st, I'm still gonna have the exact same amount of money because I'm not gonna sell my Drip until I see great prices. Now, the other side of the coin is there's one person right now that's, I guess one type of person right now that would actually be hurt in this scenario. And those are the whales. If you've maxed your account out right now, you really have no choice. If you're trying to get some of that capital back, you have to sell your Drip because you can't compound it and make any more. So for that guy who's just barely maxing out their account right now, that's tough. It's kind of too bad that the Drip price is this low, because if it was at 100 or 150 or even 30, they'd be in a much better situation. But I would hope that those guys would have taken a little bit of money along the way to where they're not in a position that they really need to sell that. You would hope so, right? And they're taking some of those earnings, some of those gains, and just shifting that Drip over into their second account or third account. So they're not really selling it. Outside of that, why are you guys selling? I mean, do you really think this project is going to go to zero? So you're going to try to take 1% out every day for the next 365 days to recuperate your money? If that's the case and you think this is going to go to zero, you're never even going to get close. And if you didn't use risk capital in the first place, then that's just an idiotic move. You're literally buying high and selling low. The investor mindset is just crazy to me. Everyone wants to sell when things get super red. No one wants to buy. In the peak of the 2008 real estate crash, the people who made real money were the people buying at the bottom when no one wanted to touch it. That also happens with every stock market crash, with every crypto crash. So could things go lower? Absolutely. Bitcoin could go lower. We could possibly see it drop down to 20,000. Could the stock market go lower? Yeah, and it probably will. Could Drip go lower? Yes. The difference between Drip and really any other investment. So here's a kind of a different take, right? In traditional markets, if you can predict that an economic downturn is about to happen, which should have been pretty obvious, right? We printed a ton of money, we've got mass inflation, and now we're raising interest rates. That's a recipe to see the economy tank. So if you knew that was coming, you could bail out of your Bitcoin investment. You could bail out of your S&P 500 investment. You could close out those positions, wait for the drop, and then buy back in. If you see those coming, that's not a bad trade. But you can't do that in Drip. You can't bail on your whole position. You can only sell 1% per day. So you guys out there selling $2 in Drip over and over and over trying to get your money out, you guys really aren't understanding how this works. Now, it might be different for a crypto like early Dogecoin, right? And some of you guys are probably Doge fanatics. I never was, mainly because it was a meme coin with no utility and no plan of action. And everybody was just buying it up because of the hype. Now, when things started to go sideways, there was a massive sell-off. And it makes sense to sell that off. Sell out your full position because that one could easily go to zero. There was no ecosystem or utility or use case or anything behind it. Them trying to invent use cases and utilities for it didn't come until after it had that big spike and Elon Musk tweeted about it and then all of a sudden it was a big thing. But it wasn't even a real project until that happened. So even if you could sell all of your Drip at one time, the investment still wouldn't be like Dogecoin. Because Drip has an ecosystem. Every day there's more and more utilities coming out. And I know everything's been delayed and the partnerships are delayed. It's all very frustrating, but do you guys think it's just never going to happen? Or do you guys think it will be delayed? Pretty much every time Forex says something, it ends up happening. It always ends up happening a few weeks or months after he says it, but he's been really true to his word so far. So if I'm looking at draining my investment and trying to pull out every bit I can, it's because I think it's going to go to zero. There is no ApeSwap partnership. There is no PancakeSwap partnership. There is no incoming scratcher tickets. There's no incoming lending protocol. There is no incoming City of Atlantis use case. Then that, if that's really true, then that's a reason to bail. But if you really don't believe that Forex is being honest when he says all this stuff's coming online, even though PancakeSwap has already, tweeted the bunny running with the drip shirt on a couple times, if you really believe that none of that's true, then you never, ever should have gotten this project in the first place. You got in it for quick cash, not realizing that the protocol locked your money up, and you dumped in capital you couldn't afford to risk, then I would say, as kindly as I can, as an investor, you're an idiot. So is Drip going to go lower? Probably a little bit lower. Is Drip going to go to zero? That's almost impossible. I think the only reason Drip will go to zero is if the system gets hacked with some sort of exploit and the accounts get drained. There's too many people that went through this decision tree correctly and are ending up at be patient, wait for the new developments to come out. Let's look at a couple charts. I just want to put this in perspective for you guys, right? This is the Drip chart. It looks nasty. We had inception, we had some nice spikes, pullbacks, up here to 89, back down to 54. We hit our all-time high and it's been pretty much straight down ever since. People started to pull capital to put it over in the animal farm. Drip got neglected. Animal farm had some issues and from then on it just went down. That's a lot of turmoil that happened in the Drip project. A lot of bad news and that put a lot of selling pressure on Drip. I'm just looking right now as I'm talking, look at this. Drip go to zero hell, right? So there's one outlook and look at Daddy Bear 1. Shout out to Daddy Bear 1. Don't know who that is. But Drip, perfect entry price. That's my guy right there. If you believe that all those partnerships are going to come out, which I truly believe they will, and Drip is still going to somehow go to zero, I think that's absolute nonsense. Let's look at some other stuff real quick. We just got to put this in perspective, guys. What's another amazing project, right? Cardano, really well respected. Hey, bouncing back over this last day. Let's look at all. Man, that chart almost looks familiar, right? Initial spike, some run-ups, big pullback, all-time high, and then pretty much straight down since then. That looks a whole heck of a lot like the Drip chart, to be honest. And Cardano's a big boy cryptocurrency. What do they got here? $18 billion market cap. Let's look at ETH. Bouncing back today. Let's see. Oh man, that looks familiar, doesn't it? Big initial spike up, flattened out, another spike, dip down, all-time high, pretty much straight down since then. I'm not saying Drip is Ethereum, but lay those charts over the top of each other and it will give you a little bit of context. Saying Drip is going to zero is not as far-fetched as saying Ethereum is going to zero, but it's still pretty far-fetched in my opinion. A lot of the stuff on the board, a lot of believers still in the project, a lot of people accumulating at these lower levels, which I am too. I am currently buying Drip. It could go lower. I'm not really concerned. I'm DCAing. If we have some sort of big spike and it goes back up to 20, I want to say that I bought at 11.54 or whatever. I'm dollar cost averaging to get my average price down, and I want to max this account out. And I'm trying to see if I can actually hit max payout on my account by the end of the year. It's a pretty lofty goal, but these lower prices will certainly help me. And I think the price is going to be a lot higher at the end of the year than it is right now. Let's keep going. Let's take a look at some stuff. The beloved Hex. Let's look at Hex real quick. All right, Hex bouncing back a little bit today. Good for Hex. All time, boom. All time high, tank, up and down. Pretty low. Hex is a big project, guys. A lot of people bought the top and they're super frustrated, but I think Hex is actually a really good project. So accumulate down here and wait for the next turn. Let's look at one more. Let's look at this Terra Classic, right? Terra busted out a new one, but let's look at the Terra Classic. Oh, okay. Peg to the dollar, boom, near zero. Another major protocol that went from being a trusted name in the space to being worth nothing. Now they launched the new Luna, and it seems like it's actually doing okay. Let's look at all. This came out a couple days ago. Obviously, it initially opened. As soon as people got their credits, there was a huge sell-off. Everyone was trying to get their money back out. Some accumulation down here and people buying it at what they feel like is a cheap price. Now it's starting to go back up. So it's pretty obvious that across the board, the crypto market is just getting slayed in general. And I feel like whatever happens in the cryptocurrency market gets amplified in the DeFi space. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're up and down are going to raise all tides. And when they get flushed out, everything else is going to tank. We're obviously seeing a portion of that in our project. Some of our downsides have been that we've had delays, we had the issues with the animal farm, all this stuff was kind of going against us, and it just happened to also happen right in the middle of a major pullback in the market. So we're getting double hit there. Now these few things that have happened, the delays, the animal farm issues, all that, if it had happened in a roaring bull market, I don't think we'd be having this conversation right now. New users would be coming on because when all-time highs are happening, everybody's dumping into the protocols. When things are going down, everybody's jumping out and spreading a bunch of FUD, saying these projects are going to zero. It always happens. That's what the masses do. They're hysterical one way. When everything's going up, you got to get in. When everything's going down, they're yelling, you got to get out. That is the average investor's mindset. I'm hoping that most of you guys that are watching this are either like, hey, that's me, I need to change my mindset. Or if you're like, no, I get it. Buy the bottoms, sell the tops. So just remember that. I mean, obviously I feel a little bit concerned right now. I'll be real with you guys. My big concern is that if Drip does need to mint new tokens to satisfy the demand of people getting paid out their 1% and that supply and circulation being too high, which is currently 192.7 thousand, which is as high as I've seen it since I got on the project. My biggest concerns are exactly how the metrics are going to work when you have to mint new tokens, if we have to mint new tokens. So I saw a post from Forex Shark a little bit earlier that explained a little bit about that, and it made me feel a little bit better. Mathematically, it seems like we're actually not going to be in that bad of shape. It's unfortunate, but we should be absolutely fine. Things always don't work exactly how the mathematics work. So if I'm being real, that's my main concern. But I just go back to the decision tree chart and realize, hey, I said that I was a believer in the protocol and the developer, which I still am. The supply and minting new tokens is also something that's not within my control. And since I'm just going to worry about the controllables that I can control, then I'm not going to be too worried about it. I believe in the developer. If we get to that point, I believe that he's going to fix it. So I'm not going to waste my energy thinking about it, bitching about it, commenting about it, spreading fear and uncertainty. I'll be real with you guys. I'm always real with you guys. That is one thing that concerns me a little bit, but I believe Forex is going to get sorted out. I'm not overly that concerned with the price. It does give me an opportunity to DCA down here and pick up some cheap tokens. I still think there is a really good chance we hit a new all-time high this year, as long as those additional utilities come out, right? As long as PancakeSwap does happen, ApeSwap does happen, Scratchers go live, and that lending protocol is at least mostly finished by the end of the year. So I'm going to believe that it is going to happen until it doesn't, right? Talk to me at the end of the year, and if it doesn't happen, then I'll have an opinion on it, and I'll probably be pretty critical of Forex missing these promises. But right now, we're not in dire straits. The chart just looks nasty, like every other chart out there. We just went through 5 or 6. You guys saw the space. The whole space looks terrible. I've been getting a lot of comments on my videos, and I've seen them on a bunch of others. Drip's going to zero. Drip is trash. It had its time. It's never going to come back. Those comments are so productive, right? I wish those people would say, Drip's not a good investment. Here's what I'm invested in that's actually doing really well. I wish that someone would say that, because right now, nothing is going well. Nobody can say that. These people are just mad because they bought the top or they never got it in the first place. They've got all this trash to talk, but they probably don't even have a horse in the race. They're like not even invested. They're just mad that other people are doing well, or they lost all their money on X investment, and so they got to make you feel worse about the investment you made. If you are watching this and you've got other projects that are just doing so much better than Drip, especially ones that have been out for more than a year, because I get tired of, hey, look into this one, it's doing awesome. Yeah, it's 2 weeks old. Let me know how it's doing in 6 months. It's not an established protocol. But I would love to see in the comments suggestions of projects that are doing a lot better and are really sustainable. And for those people, I'll take your comments seriously. If you're like, hey, I'm not in Drip for X reason, or I did get in Drip and I'm mad because I lost a bunch of money, but here's a protocol that's actually doing really well, that's been around for a long time, check that one out. Drip is trash compared to that. Just saying Drip is trash, it's just nonsense. You guys are just haters, and you've got a problem for every solution. That's just the type of people you are, and you got too much time on your hands if you're just going to comment negative things all the time. Take whatever project you actually like and rep it. Don't spend your time going to the projects you don't like and keyboard warrior and the whole thing and trying to talk trash in the comments. Most of you guys are idiots, and most of you guys would never say that stuff to my face. I've been hearing some negative stuff the last couple of days about Forex. Why isn't he coming out and saying anything? Listen, the roadmap is there. I honestly think the best thing Forex could possibly do is put his head down and develop fast. Get these partnerships across the line, get his team working, just focus. We already know all the stuff that's upcoming. He's got a million things in the pipeline. We just need to make them happen. A great AMA will make people feel bullish for a second, but not near as bullish as a new utility going live will. Right? Ape Swap needs to get finished. We need to launch the new UI. Animal Farm needs to get open in the next few weeks. I'd be fine with 0 AMAs until that happened. Right? If you could take the next month, take his developers, put out an announcement like, hey, no announcements for the next 30 days. We're working hard to get this, and this done, and then launch them next month. That'd be perfect. If the price goes down, I'll accumulate a lot more. All those big developments will come out. The price will shoot up a bit. Investor confidence will come back. So that's what needs to happen. Forex is a smart guy. I'm sure that's on his mind. I just think in the scheme of things, a lot of this back and forth really doesn't matter all that much. I believe we'll be in a much different situation. The market will have a much different outlook in general by the end of the year. Some projects will completely wash out, others will thrive, and it won't matter to anyone who hasn't maxed their account out already. So my advice to everyone, go back to the decision tree, try to stop complaining, try to not let the fear get to you, right? And work on compounding until you get close to your max payout. Because if you really think any of this stuff is going to happen, any of it, why would you sell Drip at $11 when you could sell it for $30 in a couple months, when you could sell it for $100 in 5 months, when you could sell it for $250 in 9 months? Why would you do that? Quit being short-sighted, be a real investor, quit crying about the fact that you put capital you couldn't afford to lose into a risky DeFi protocol. Take some responsibility and accountability for your own actions, and your life will get a lot better. So here's what I'm doing. Let me just sum it up real quick. It's frustrating to see the price is low, but I'm going to take this opportunity to buy more. Because I think Animal Farm is going to go live soon, I think the scratch tickets are going to be a hit, and I think lending protocol is going to be massive. I'm going to try to see if there's any way I can max my account out by the end of the year. At the end of the year, I think we're going to be in a much different situation. Once we get in a much better situation, I will sell responsibly. I will claim some of my drip. I will be adding some to a new wallet. I'll be doing solid airdrops. I'll be transitioning a lot of those profits over to buy pigs so I can stake those in the pig pen. And I'm going to use my brain to leverage the different aspects of each of these protocols. I'm going to make money in the garden. I'm going to make money in the drip faucet. And I'm going to make money in the animal farm. And I'm going to be patient, and I'm not going to cry about it. I'll be real with you guys about it. I wish my account had $10 million in it right now, and I wish the price of drip was $2,000. Is that within my control? No. What is within my control is how I want to manage my investment for the time being. And my choice is to hydrate and wait it out. That's it, guys. Hopefully this video was helpful. Happy investing.